Hey you, welcome to Adulting's Ghetto. We all know adulting is truly overrated, so what better way to survive this ratchet place than coming together to share our stories and words of wisdom with one another. Join us as we discuss all things adulting from the following aspects of adulthood: finances, relationships, spirituality, and even health. This podcast is a great source to get all tips and tricks as you manage to survive adulting. After all, we already know adulting is truly ghetto.
Hey y'all, welcome to Adulting is Ghetto, the podcast. I'm super excited to have you back for another episode. And I'm equally excited because I have my dear friend, XL the Scholar here with us.
Yes.
So, before we dive right in, of course, you know I got to tell y'all how I met XL the Scholar. But also, too, he's going to tell us a little bit about himself, okay? All right. So, XL the Scholar, okay, me and him go way back, okay?
Uh-oh.
Nothing crazy, but back in college days. I went to Mount Holyoke College. Shout out to my Mohos out there, okay? And then you were at UMass at the time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you want to tell the organization that you're a part of, that you're proud to be a part of?
Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Yeah.
Yes. So the Qs, y'all, okay? They used to throw parties with my org, APAU. It's a Black Student Union org on campus, and we would have amazing times together. You could just imagine.
Yeah.
So with that said, we met that way, and we just continue being friends. And now you live in Atlanta, right?
I do.
And I moved down to Atlanta a little bit after you're a little older, and I randomly saw him at a pool party. And it was him being him.
Okay.
And I said, oh my gosh. And we just reconnected, so it's been great.
But I don't know if I like the connotation of him being him. What does that mean?
Him being, first of all, he is a very distinguishable Black man, as you guys can see. XL is XL for a reason. So with that said, I was like, is that him? I mean, you really can't miss him. You know what I'm saying? You're very unique in how you are.
Okay, I'll take that.
But it was great. It was great vibes and everything. Like it was at a mutual friend's pool party.
Yeah.
So, and then after that, it's been great.
Yeah, for sure.
And you've helped me out with a lot of things, and I'm super excited for that. And we'll talk about that more. So let's lead into that. Who is XL the Scholar?
It's crazy. I was just talking about it, and the story is a unique one, yo. Like, so I came from UMass and then went down to Georgia State to play ball.
Yes.
And then at that point in time, like I had a group of friends around me, and then we would do the regular college things, like we freestyling before we go out and all of that. But some of them were actually in the music game already, and I had no idea. I wasn't really taking it serious because I was focused on football.
Right.
So then I end up, after that, I go to the Falcons, and then I get cut. So I have to come back and finish my degree. At that point in time, my friends have taken off. Shout outs to OG Parker, shout outs to Macnell, Free Mac, shout outs to Neutral, Great Quality Records. And so they're absolutely taking off. I think Parker has his song with Migos and the rest of the QC guys over there. And they're like, yo, come to the studio. And so I go to the studio. I'm doing my first song. It was called Fall Through. And it went really, really well. But what kind of resonated with me was as I was recording it, into the studio walks Big Crit.
No way.
Yeah, man. And I'm like, you know what? If this is the type of serendipitous moment that's happening just off my first song, like, this is something that needs to happen.
Heck
so,
yeah.
Yeah. So it just kind of, it took off from there. So again, yo, my team really corralled around me and was like, son, do this. And I was leaving, like, you know, up north, it was more of a battle rapping sort of situation.
Yeah.
But they helped me lean into like singing and things like that more. And I was already singing throughout high school and everything. However, I really started to take it seriously as an artist. So
I did not know that.
Yeah,
This is a different side, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, you saw me in like party environment.
Yes.
There were so many more layers.
College mode.
Yes. But there were many more layers behind and around that. So
I love
I'm glad that like now I get to be all of myself all the time. Yeah.
And so many things can coexist at once, y'all. So this is beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
And of course I'm proud because I've seen you grow and you're really an impeccable guy. So
Thank
I'm
you.
super excited to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So today, y'all, we are talking about Black love.
Let's
okay,
do it.
not just any love, but Black love. Okay. We're gonna get into this.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm ready. I'm excited. That's my bread and butter.
This your bread and butter, Black love.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, absolutely.
So with that said, we're gonna start off with one of the questions is how is dating life for you in Atlanta? We're getting right into it, okay?
You know what? The thing about Atlanta is that it's everything you need it to be as a Black person. So whatever it is that you're looking, whatever it is that you're looking for, you're gonna find.
Yeah.
So If you are an actor and you're looking for acting gigs, it's here. If you're a musician, you're looking for music gigs, it's here. If you're a black engineer, there are black engineering jobs. And so it is similar with dating. However, what's put in your face isn't necessarily the things that you should be going for.
Let's talk about it.
And so Atlanta is Black Hollywood, right? And so there are a lot of superficial things and people that are here as well.
Yeah.
So if you're not careful, you can kind of get caught up in that. And so that was never my thing. I've always been super turned off by people that are not necessarily clout chasing, but are moving like that. You know what I'm saying? So I always look for something genuine. I always look for something authentic. So in that regard, dating has been easy for me because I'm sifting through the nonsense already. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see your persona. I want to see the person. I don't want to see what you're putting out there. I want to see you. And so if you is tied up into your brand or your social media or whatever that is, that's not for me. Right? I'm trying to see something authentic. And so
I feel that.
And I don't put myself in a position to meet the character that you portray online. I put myself in a position to meet the person. And so
how does that look? Like, what do you mean? Like,
I think,
define that.
So
you do interesting dates that bring out more of the character.
I think that like when I first got here, I was very much so about like your introduction and your presence when you walk into a space, right? So there was folks that would walk in like, and niggas would be like, I don't know if I can say niggas on your podcast. Okay, cool. So niggas would be like, oh, that's such and such from Twitter. Okay. Well, she just walked into my crib and she didn't greet anybody. Hey, hello, how are you doing?
Right.
And it'd be like the flimsy. Excuse me. I don't know where you were raised, but we make eye contact here. Like, hello, how are you?
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so that sifted out a lot of people.
That's
because
true.
a lot of people like manners, like being a mannerly person. Again, I don't want your facade. You could bounce if you with all of that. And so that was kind of a sifting out. But also like when we speak, I think I'm gonna ask you more so your interests as opposed to who you are. You know what I'm saying? Because if I say, who are you? Oh, I'm
so-and-so.
Your character. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to like, so what are your interests? Oh, like, you know what I mean? And it can become much more of an organic conversation.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I just think that naturally I'm just going to sift through the nonsense. And so in that regard, like I said, it's been relatively easy. Now the dating itself has been difficult because I'm a difficult person. I'm well aware of that. I'm super self-aware, and I'm also
we love a black king self-awareness.
Yo, son, I self-evaluate, and I'm trying to be better in every sense of the word all the time. I know
Amen.
I'm a difficult individual to deal with. I'm a difficult individual to be with romantically. So
wow,
I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that, and so
okay,
yeah. So again, the courting, that's not hard. You know what I'm saying? But the actual relationship aspect,
because that's another thing. This is gonna lead to another question, but we're gonna talk.
Let's do it. We got time today.
We got time today.
So
courting. Okay, so you believe in that? Because some men don't. Like a lot of people have different definitions of talking, dating, exclusively dating and talking. You know, I mean, and then committed, and it's crazy. So like you introducing that word courting, not everyone believes in that or even understands that.
Right, and so I feel like that's a bit of a loaded question because courting looks different to everyone.
Right.
Oftentimes people will treat them as auditions, and that's cool or whatever.
Okay.
Again, putting your best foot forward, but I'm so deterred by again the character that a person portrays as opposed to the person that they are. So I think that's going to look different. I think that the interest level is going to look different as well. But also, again, I'm a difficult individual, so
you love this shit.
Yeah. I mean, like, listen, I try different methods. Let's say that. Let's say that. Yeah.
We're gonna have to get some examples soon.
Okay. We can get there.
When we get there?
We can get there. Yeah, we can get there.
Watch, they're watching this right now. I'll be like, wow, really? No, I'm kidding. Okay, so moving forward, what are your thoughts on Black love, right? And the state of where we are in our generation and today. I'm gonna just give you that broad spectrum and we're just gonna keep going.
I think the portrayal of Black love is different than the way that Black love exists in the world.
I agree.
And so there's this narrative, there's this thing that people keep putting forward as if there's always this animosity or tension between Black men and Black women. There's a particular story within elite or successful Black men that they are not going for Black women, and there's this conception that the Black relationship is dysfunctional, and and it kind of crosses a bunch of different platforms, right? So movies, actors, athletes, all of that, but also in music as well.
Yeah.
However, there is so much real life black love out here.
Yeah.
Black men and black women love each other, will fight for each other, will die for each other, and that truly does exist. So I feel like, from my perspective as a musician, it's my duty to tell authentic black love stories, because that's my reality, and that is the reality. So I'm not going to necessarily buy in to the nonsense and the shenanigans that are put forward about black love, but particularly about black women and the stories that are told in the negative way, because that's really what's being pushed a lot of the time on black women. And folks get on their podcasts, get on their radio shows. Why ain't black women this? And why did you go to another race as opposed to yo? So you going out your way to tear down the sisters that raised you, the sisters that's a part of your family, the sisters that's, fighting for
that
you
raised
on a
you,
day-to-day basis. You know what I'm saying? And so, nah, not me. So what we gonna do every single time, I'm gonna big up black women, I'm gonna talk about black love, I'm gonna sing about black women, and that's what it's gonna be, because again, that is my reality, and therefore it is the reality. So
I like that.
Black love is alive and well in the world of XL.
Amen. Oh,
yeah, that was a bar. That was a bar. I'm not sure if y'all got that, but that was a bar.
You want to say it again for the people?
Nah. They got it the first time. I
like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Come on now.
That was good.
Let it work on you.
Yeah.
Somebody needed that message. I don't know who it was.
Shoot, I wish I had a bar. Okay.
It'll come to you.
Okay.
It'll come to you.
All right. Well, that was a great answer, first of all.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate that. I do agree with you. There are a lot of podcasts out there that really shit on black women and black men as well. I'm not going to take the men out of that. But it's just really toxic, and it really does create a narrative that it's not possible, and it also feeds a lot of anxiety for a lot of people that are seeking dating relations and whatnot, right? So I really am glad that you do take a stance in that.
But even to kind of go a bit further with that, like those podcasts and things like that, or radio shows or whatever that it is, are echo chambers.
Yes,
and so the men that they garner is other niggas that's gonna embolden this particular stance.
Oh yeah, and we have to deal with it, ladies. Right.
And it's always the sisters. So everything is the sisters' fault. That's what you're telling me. And
Thank
so
you.
it's actually it's not confusing and it's not surprising. But again, a particular type of man is gonna listen to those things and is gonna be emboldened by those things. And is going to probably want a platform of their own to keep spreading this type of nonsense.
Podcast pop up is so quickly. But just ready to just talk.
And that's the podcast ain't the issue. It's the individuals, the niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like and the narrative that you're spreading and how harmful that it is.
It is.
And it's a lot of niggas that's bread and butter, speaking wise, whether you're talking about a podcast or music or whatever, is talking down on black women, breaking down black women from their confidence to their looks to why you can't X, Y, and Z. And that's crazy to me. Because black women are the first to be there for us. The first to prop us up, the first to be like, son, we support you, we love you, we're here for you. And then as soon as a nigga gets a little bit of clout or a little platform or whatever, that's who you tear down? Like that's your bag?
And I'm in therapy. I actively talk about this. I think that's a beautiful point you say. I think it comes back down to self-awareness, but also self-love of oneself. I think it's easier to tear down someone that's supporting you when you really don't love yourself. Deep, really deep love. And I've noticed that. I do date as well, as you guys know. I talk about I'm more of a serial dater in that regard. I am single. So with that said, I meet a lot of people and I see and try to ask questions, just kind of like you're saying too, to get a full roundness of you. And a lot of it comes down from hurt. A lot of past experiences, trauma, how they were raised. There's so many things into it. I'm not saying if you came from a broken home, quote unquote, you will never do this. I'm saying that you might have to work a little bit extra harder for that ideal marriage or whatever your goals are, because not everyone desires to be married, so I won't say that. But I say that to say that we do have to pick up that, because you guys also too, as strong black men, need to be strong black men in the world. And when you come home, you still feel like you have to be a strong black man for us. And then when you do have that space to finally be yourself, because I do encourage people that I talk to feel the emotions. It's okay. I don't mind if you get intense and tired and maybe want to shed a tear or two, dare I say, but understand that I'm also human too.
Right.
And I'm also someone that's going through life with you, not against you.
Right.
And that's a huge thing. And I think because of past relations and just of all what I heard, it's like, yeah, well, last time I was vulnerable, it went left.
Right.
It's like, okay, yeah, well, that's what love is. It's going to be vulnerable. You cannot think you can just get into this with a hard, cold heart and think you're going to get far.
Right.
Like, you know, so it all comes down to that. And I'm really glad you're saying this because it is needed.
Yeah.
And it's good to see because I know the narratives I hear and see and it's being pushed. It's disgusting. Because, like, that's part of the reason why people will, and a lot of women be like, dating is ghetto, it's trash. 0 out of 10 do not recommend.
Right.
And it's good to see that you're trying to push the narrative for that, especially through your music.
Yeah.
And let's talk about your music.
Okay. Let's do that too. Yeah.
So, how was the music video, the most recent one? Okay, one.
Yes.
I follow him, so I've been on top of this. But please tell us about On Ice.
Yes. So On Ice was actually the last song that I wrote for my most recent project. It's called Black Butterfly. It deals with a myriad of different emotions because I was going through it at the time. So it deals with love and loss and all of those things, but also kind of tying into desire a bit. And so On Ice, right? Did you feel that?
I felt that.
Desire, right? And so On Ice is really a song about not only giving in to desire, but clearly communicating with your partner. It's kind of a different sort of intimacy.
Yeah.
When you can kind of speak on it and call it by its name. So when we talk about, hey, I like my liquor better when it's on ice. I like this better when it's like this. And when you can kind of speak each other's language intimately, then it creates a whole different level that you can kind of get to. And so On Ice is a super dope song. It's sensual, it's intimate, it's an empowering love. Yeah. And so the video, shout outs to Kaja Matt, man. She is the director behind the video. And I wanted it to be something specific. I wanted it to be, again, an authentic Black love story.
Right.
I don't want it to be selling sex because there's a lot of those videos. I want it to be selling Black intimacy and what that looks like. I wanted to tell an authentic story. And so when she came to me and she was like, yo, I have this vision for the video. I was like, all right. And I took a look at it and I sent it to my managers and we were all like, yo, like, this is it. And so it just has come to fruition. Shout outs to the leading lady, the love interest, Akili Thurston, who is a beautiful Black model who just embodies grace and poise and elegance and Blackness in a way that it isn't necessarily seen all the time. And so I am so excited for this On Ice video. Like, it's lit. It's really
so
dope.
Great. Y'all better check it out.
Yes. Check it out.
Oh my
Please
goodness.
do. Yes.
So speaking of desire, okay, I love that you said that.
Yeah.
Do you desire to be married one day? I know, we're just jumping into it.
Do I desire to be married one day?
What's your ideal future?
I think I do. I do desire that one day.
Okay.
However, I don't know if it's in the cards for me, man.
Really? Now, why would you say that?
I don't know if it's in the cards for me.
I hate when men say that.
No, I just like, it's difficult. And growing with somebody is also difficult.
Oh, yeah. No one said it'd be easy now.
Right, that's true. But I think the idea or ideals of marriage are what people are really attracted to. But a lifetime partnership.
To death do us part.
Right, is what marriage actually is. And so to commit to somebody for life, like that forever thing, it's dope. I would like for it to happen for me. However, I don't know. I don't know that it's coming for me in the way that I'm coming for it. So I'm open. Okay. I hope to be in a position one day where I can say, yo, let's do this forever thing. However, I don't know.
You know, it's so interesting. I'm going to challenge that because, you know, I think it's so interesting that you say this and totally respect to what you're saying, but just also to other men's perspectives. They're like, oh, I hope it is. And, you know, if it falls in my lap, kind of like the passive approach. It's so interesting because men, you guys lead that. Like, women are proposing. I don't recommend that. But personally, you guys have to be the one that's committed. You have to be the one that's in charge to you lead the relationship game. If you think about it, right? I could like a guy so damn much. Right. I could be having sex. I could do whatever our intimacy things and be thinking we are really here.
Right.
But if that man does not want to commit, it is a done deal. I cannot beg you, cannot plead. I could, people do, but I don't. You know, and like when the reality hits the fan of like I'm not ready for commitment, and it's finally said, because my daddy always told me too, don't let a man tell you more than once he don't want you, and sometimes it's not through verbal, but it's actions. Yeah, I'm a daddy's girl for life. Shout out to my daddy. But and that's why I be missing some of this bullshit that people be going through. And I'm grateful for that. And that's why Black fathers matter, okay?
Right.
But with that said,
seriously,
with that said, it's just interesting because I hear this narrative and like a lot of times like, oh yeah, you know, it's something. Yeah, I think I want it. It's like we as women are so pruned and groomed to like for this day. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. However, it really is in y'all's control. And I think that is so interesting, especially as someone like an alpha woman like myself who kind of controls her life. I mean, obviously, I'm living it, but also too, that's a part in an area that I cannot control. Well, no matter how my emotions feel,
right?
And that is so annoying because it's almost like we have to play the waiting game. No, it's true. I've had aunties tell me the game. And she's like, you don't want to be the first girlfriend back in college. You want to be the last one because you want to get the ring. That's the prize, right?
Right.
And I'm hearing this as I grow up. And I'm like, okay, I play the game. What does that look like? Do you let a guy treat you disrespectfully because you're trying to be that girl that he could come back to after he dogged other women out because you want to show? No, I don't think that's right. But what is that narrative teaching?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, if a man's not respecting me and it's like not on the same wave of what I'm trying to do, you got to go. Or I'll remove myself.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the narrative. People like wait around because they're like, oh, I don't know. Take charge. Lead, damn it. Plan a date. It starts with that. No, kidding. Just kidding.
So you said a bunch of things.
I did.
And one in particular was a passive approach, right? So I'm going to take... In
my opinion.
That's fair. I'm going to take issue with that because when I'm saying if it comes to me, I'm not saying necessarily a passive approach.
Okay.
Because there are women that's desire is to be married, not to be married to you. And so if you set that as your goal as opposed to building the partnership, then again, we are playing two roles in hopes of meeting a particular goal that had neither of us in mind. And so again, with this thing of authenticity. And so when I came down south, there were a lot of women with the desire to be married.
Especially down
I'm
south.
about to get married by this date. Huh? What if you don't meet X, Y, and Z? Or what if your man's goes down a different career path? Or what if life brings you somewhere else? You know what I'm saying? But again, that is your goal. So if you're looking at the finish line, you're not necessarily seeing the journey. So again, when we talk about this and I'm talking about what comes my way, there are people with an agenda to be married. Like, I feel like that's mad. I think that's wild. Like, people say date for marriage. Son, wait it. Huh? Like, if I'm going into the date thinking about, okay, I'm going to take this woman for the rest of my life, like, you haven't met that person. You haven't seen them in their highs and their lows. You know what I'm saying? You haven't seen them down. You haven't seen them up. You haven't seen how supportive they are. You haven't seen their family trauma. You haven't seen any of those things. And so when I'm saying if it comes to me, what I'm talking about is a person and an experience. I'm not saying if marriage comes to me, because if we are developing and growing the right ways, then it will come. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
That's a goal.
Good answer.
You know what I mean? But it's not the goal that I walk into dating with, because then again, I'm not looking at you. I'm looking past you. I'll bring you with me somewhere that you didn't intend on going. And that's where a lot of people run into problems. And so I know a lot of folks that was married in college, and y'all don't even know each other.
You don't even know yourself.
You don't know yourself. You haven't been with anybody else. You haven't been down and out, or you haven't been up.
Or had adulting experience.
You haven't had you haven't had any of those things happen before. And so you have chosen for life, you have chosen a commitment, a contract to something without reading all of the fine details. And so I am significantly against that. So if we gonna do this for everything, it's gonna be for real. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna be because we planned on it from the jump. It's gonna be because we feel it.
I love that answer. Okay, I would say, in Family Feud, good answer, good answer, good answer. That's what I feel like. And that's good. I think that, more genuineness, more self-awareness should be reveling with men. Also authenticity. A lot of times, and this leads me to the next question perfectly. Why do you think dating in general for our generation is so ghetto? And you can answer, but my part to this in response is, I think a lot of people are not even their real authentic self.
Yeah.
And they're dating with this facade, like you were saying, and they're either meeting people where they are, which is with the facade, and that person could be also being a facade or genuine, whatever that is. It's not meshing, but I like them. There's something about them, whether the sex is good, whether they make a certain income, whatever your things are that get you.
Right.
And then the other part in the same breath is, if they aren't what you want or like not really matching up, being honest with like, it's okay if this person's not your person.
Right.
Being okay with being alone. It's okay to say no.
Yeah.
And also being understanding that you cannot change a person.
Right.
A lot of people get involved with someone and they'll be like, oh, I really like this about him, like this about him, so I think it should work. No, if it's not working, it's okay. Say that, one, communicate that, but also two, you can't change that.
Yeah.
Like some of these things you cannot change.
Right.
How they are as a character, that is a between him and God, between she and God. That's it. You know what I mean? And some people think, well, I could change him, especially a lot of the ladies. I don't like that. Women, y'all need to stop doing that for real. Nah, I'm dead ass. I hear too many stories of like, well, I mean, I think this could work anyway. Sis, he already told you he doesn't want you. In many ways.
Right.
Maybe not verbally. You probably should have said it. But the signs, you know? So that's my little 2 cents. But why do you think dating, and you can respond to that too, but.
Can you repose the question?
Of course. Why do you think dating in general for our generation is so ghetto?
Yeah. I think you touched on a bunch of things. But again, these facades that we buy into from either side, right?
Yeah, so not just men.
If you present yourself as a person that stands behind this bread, this tangible thing is my character, then that is what the person is with, because you haven't chosen to show anything else. And so a lot of times, especially within Black success, we decide that success is our character, right? Oh, I'm a young blah, blah, blah with my own crib, my own X, Y, and Z. Things may change.
Yeah.
The job may change. I think we kind of realized that like through the pandemic.
Yeah,
like,
a lot.
You're replaceable. You know what I mean? And so I think
a lot of this is out of control.
Yeah. And so I think that when you put yourself, or when you allow your partner to only see that component of who it is that you are, once that changes, their love for you is going to change as well, because that's what they are in love with.
And that's what they know.
And so I think that, again, the ideal for me, like, so let me actually take it a step back.
Yeah, take a step back.
This aversion to not materialism, but people loving the character or liking the character comes from me playing ball. You know what I mean? Me playing football at a high level, it invited a lot of people into a circle that loved a football player. Yeah. You don't know Theo. You don't know Excel. Right. But I know this big Black man plays ball, and I know that he has certain status, so I'm going to rock with you.
That's true.
And I know of niggas who leaned into that role. I'm the big shot, I'm the football guy, da-da-da-da-da. That's how I'm going to approach women. That's how I'm going to treat women, because that is going to be my character. Yeah. And then football went away. And then they had an identity crisis. Yeah. Because these same women ain't coming around no more, because you decided to tie yourself to this.
That is so deep.
And so I was always like, nah, like, if you coming around to rock with me, you rock with me. Right. You know what I'm saying?
As the
You're
individual.
not rocking with me because I'm a Q. You're not rocking with me because of football. You rocking with me, the person. I loathed anyone that was coming around because of the stats, because of those type of things. And so I bring that with my life now in terms of being a musician as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to know, like, you can like the music, but again, it's me, the person. Right. And so for a lot of relationships, especially out here in Atlanta, a lot of people are tying their identity to the things that they do or the things that they provide, as opposed to the person that they are. Yes. And then once that begins to shift, then all of a sudden you're shifting, because now you're having an identity crisis. Yeah. And from the opposite end, a lot of women are tying their affection to the transactional things that a nigga is doing for you, amen. So hold on, I know I'm talking to somebody here.
Oh, shit.
So again, are you in love with the things that the nigga provided? Are you in love with the things that were done for you or the person that thought to do them? And so again, when you're bouncing from this nigga did this nigga did this nigga did this, but what about the nigga themselves, right? Who has swept you off your feet as a person?
Yeah,
you're telling
genuinely.
me about this wild ass date you went on. Cool, correct. What happened on the date? What did you talk about? What could he talk about with you that he can't talk about with anybody else? But you gonna post it and be like, this nigga brought me to, we went to Nobu, cool. What was the conversation like? Black political ideologies, what happened? When y'all talked about, right, you know what I'm saying? And so again, we're connecting to these things that people have. We're connecting to attributes instead of the person themselves. We're connecting to assets and not the people. And so that's where I think the line is, and you're never gonna find happiness in accolades. You're never gonna find happiness in assets because those are fleeting.
Hey.
This person ain't gonna play ball forever. This person ain't gonna be rich forever.
Ain't gonna look like that forever.
They're not gonna look like that forever. And so if you connect with the person, the genuine individual that's under all of that, then I feel like you'll find success. But outside of that, it'll be good, but it'll be fleeting.
Do you need a collection plate?
Man, look, I told you, I'm here to preach today.
Pastor XL.
Amen. Is it Saturday or Sunday? Is it Saturday or Sunday?
I don't know. I love what you said. Before we get to the next question, I think that's amazing that you said that. Another perspective I'll put out here, because my folks know that I'm also a God-fearing woman myself. And I think what's helped me through life, through COVID as well, I actually had an identity crisis. Not because I was portraying as someone else. That's not what happened. But this was my first job, and my close friends, of course, know. But people I've talked about it. I was let go of my first job outside of after college, and that was like, whoa. After like working really hard, my first corporate job, and I didn't know how to handle that. I felt like a failure because all I did, associated myself as Jada was the job, and I'm doing this. I'm this black woman killing it. And then I found out later it really wasn't my fault. I was kind of let go of microaggressions and some other racist BS, but still it shocked me, right? And it was my mother, it was like really close friends, and it was really my relationship with God that I had to go on a journey of understanding who I am and whose I am. And that's first and foremost a child of God. It doesn't matter what else happens after that. We all are children of God, right? And so when I started changing my perspective of that, I realized life really can come and go. And what you said, I could get another job, and I did get another job, but that title does not define who I am. Now, it sounds great when I say it, like, oh yeah, I work at this, great, but that's also not me. You know what I mean? That's a part of me, that my 9 to 5. That is my 9 to 5 duty. And then after 5 to 9, who am I? You know what I'm saying? Who am I at night? Who am I when I'm dealing with a really difficult thing? And I think a lot of people have a hard time with vulnerability. And that's another thing I'm going through as well. And I'll be transparent. It's been a lot of rough few months for me. And for me, I've taken myself off the dating market a little bit and just was like, let me focus on me and make sure, because I do believe in being equally yoked. I do believe in presenting your best self, not your character, but your best self. Do the work if you have been hurt. If you're not healing all the way, don't try to date someone else, because that's not fair. But it's interesting because now that I'm in this space, and like I said, I'm getting closer with God, I realize that God will also send people that you need. And I think it's a huge thing, especially in our Instagram world that we live in. Everything is instant gratification. Not every brother that hits your line is your husband, ladies. And not every woman that hits your line is your wife. There are some people that are just sent for that season, for whatever that is, to be a good friend. We need to start using these terms again. Colleague, support system. And I think identifying that really comes down to understand who you are and where you are. But also, too, like, not to go on a tangent, but it's just like, it's really important to know where you are, because then you can actually navigate other people in your life. There are people that talk to me all the time. I'm cute. What's up, right? But like when I go out, I can actually be like, thank you so much for your interest, but really, I don't think this is the right space for me. Now, I didn't kill your time. I didn't waste your time. I didn't waste my time trying to like make something forced, if that makes sense. And I think that really comes back down to making sure you know who you are and whose you are. Whatever religion you follow. I'm just saying for me. So that's on my little note to that.
So I like what you're saying, because I think previously when we were talking about relationships, we're talking about relationships with others and how you present yourself to them, and usually it's tied up in your current assets, right? But we have to think about our relationships with ourselves as well. And so God was throwing me curveballs for a few different times, and I had to really come back to who it is that I was. And so I remember I was in college, playing at UMass. I understood myself to be a football player, a scholar, and all of those things.
Right.
But I was a good football player because I was good at taking coaching. I was good at, all of the aspects of it. And then a new coaching staff came in. And now I understand the business of the game, but they came in and you got to cut the heads off the snakes. And I was one of the leaders of the team, right? So you got to go. So what they decided to do was come at my character. And they kind of began to really tell me things about myself. And they were saying, yo, like, you a thug and you're never going to be able to play again anywhere. And, if we let you go, you're going to have to play at Central Connecticut State. I remember like it was yesterday.
What?
And I began to internalize these things because, again, my identity was so tied up in me, the football player.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, am I trash? Was I just at a very hospitable place? And the best thing that ever happened to me, I pledged Omega Psi Phi, and I found myself in a way that's like, it doesn't matter what happens externally. I know who and what I am.
Amen.
And so, cool, I go to a different school. I go to Georgia State.
Yeah.
Turns out I'm not trash.
No, you're
and
not.
And so, I had a great career and then went, so the NFL was even a journey like that as well. And so I get picked up. I remember draft day like it was yesterday. I was at Sule's crib.
Really?
And then I get a call. It was after the draft because I was undrafted free agent. And then I was just waiting by my phone. Didn't work. We started drinking. I'm like, man, I don't know.
Of course.
And then I get a call from Atlanta. And I'm like, hello? I say, yo, Theo, anybody sign you yet? I'm like, huh? No. Okay, it's the Atlanta Falcons. We need you here on Monday. I was like, oh.
Wow.
And so that's what happened. And so I go there. I go to rookie training camp and everything. Then I get cut for the first time. Dang. Had to go back to Connecticut. Didn't finish school at that time. Needed a summer job. I was staying in my mama's basement. And I was a camp, not even a camp counselor. I was a maintenance guy at a summer camp.
Wow.
And people would be like, yo, wasn't you with the Falcons?
And you are distinguishable.
Right, and that's I am distinguishable. And so I'm riding around. I remember I'm picking up the kids' trash after lunch.
Wow.
And then again, like that was an identity thing because had I been fully tied into my identity as a football player, that's a devastating blow.
That's depressing. It could send people spiraling.
Right. And so again, I'm taking out the trash and I get another call. Hey Theo, you in shape? Yep. All right, it's the Falcons. We need you back. Cool. And then that's what happened again.
Wow.
And so there have been a multitude of times in my life where I had tied myself again to my assets, but assets can come and go.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of the self-work that you got to have even when you're going into relationships.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't talk about the self-work.
No.
And so when we talk about why things aren't working out, it's not just a personality thing. Like you have to do the work of finding yourself and being your authentic self. Because if you ain't authentic with you, how can you hope to be authentic with your partner?
And that's not even fair.
Yeah, and it's not fair to the partner as well. And so I think there's so many other things that go into these relationships. But if you playing games with your identity and with yourself and what you are attached to, you're playing games with what they're attached to as well. Because once something starts to shake identity-wise, you're giving a different person to your partner,
right?
And expecting them to react the same way. And so
right.
I think that partnership and marriage and long-term things are working, but you have to give that person your authentic self.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Great answer. Good answer again.
I'm well aware.
Yeah.
I give good answers.
Okay, so leaning into this even more.
Yeah.
Could you tell us your ideal woman? Do you have one? Let's start there.
You know what? Ideal woman is difficult because I don't know what God got in store for me, but I think it is someone who has been through the trials and tribulations of finding herself in different spaces, so that we are much clearer about who we are and she's clear about who she is.
Okay.
I think someone who is from an aesthetic level, of course, a beautiful black woman, that doesn't have to be said, but I love confidence. I love you understanding that you the shit in any space that you walk in.
Period.
And I'm cool with that. A lot of niggas will say that they want a bad Joan and this and that, but are you equipped to handle a baddie? Are you equipped to handle a baddie?
Like she's still a baddie even when she with you. So keep that shit up, yo.
That's gonna happen. Like, are you cool with shorty walks in the room and niggas necks breaking? Yeah, That's gonna happen.
That was your head too.
Are you okay with the fact it's gonna be niggas in the DMs? That's not changing. You know what I'm saying? And so
They're gonna talk to themselves, but that's fine.
Right, fair enough. Are you okay with the fact that she knows how to turn niggas down? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Trust her.
Yeah, it's trust. You know what I mean? And so it's like act like you've been here before type of situation.
Yeah.
Like I need a young lady who is who's been through their whole phase. You know what I mean? Don't let a good time entice you. We've been through that already. Because me, I've been through my whole phase a couple times over.
Not a couple times over.
You know what I'm saying? These things don't entice me anymore. So whoever I'm coming to is aware that, you might look good, but my nigga's not checking for you like that because you don't offer what it is that he's looking for. You know what I'm saying? And so I want a woman confident in that as well. Like, we've been there, done that. I've been around peacocks before. This nigga strutting and okay, cool.
Yeah, it looks nice.
It looks very nice, but that's not what I'm going for. So somebody who's well aware of themselves.
Yeah.
Again, confident, well spoken, knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Boy, I had a beautiful dummy one time.
Okay.
And so I was on a date and I tried to talk. We were talking either politics or something. And I was like, yo, you really don't know anything.
Really?
And it was curtains. It was curtains after that. I can't take you seriously.
She was really pretty though. Or like had everything.
Beautiful young lady. Beautiful young lady. Just don't.
Okay.
And no, that's a deal breaker.
You're watching this, so.
She don't watch podcasts like this, but this ain't her cup of tea. But like honestly, like intellectually sharp. Like that's a beautiful thing to
Intelligence.
me.
Would you consider yourself a sapiosexual?
Like I don't like using the term. I know what it means.
Okay, just in case, because some people will be like, "What's that?" But you're turned on by intelligence.
Yeah, yes, that's a part of I guess a sexual identity, sure, but
kind of.
Yes, but again, it's not someone who wields it as a bravado, like I'm smart and that's my identity. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that's again, you've been here before, like you're hip to things and you don't necessarily got to show people that, you know?
Oh yeah.
That's what I like. I like the confidence that understands that it exists. However, it doesn't have to show everybody because everybody sees it anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I like that. It's like you being tall versus you telling everybody you're tall.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, and so that's how I like the confidence to exude. I'm aware. I know they're looking, and that's cool. You know what I'm saying? And so, yes.
Love a good confidence.
Yeah. So confidence, intelligence, all of those things. Yes.
So with that said, okay.
Watch the follow-up.
Do you believe you are ready for her at your current state? Because if God dropped this woman right in front of you right now, what would you do?
Well, maybe he already has. But
spicy.
Yes, I believe that I am. But again, I'm a work in progress. I do self-evaluate. I'm always kind of trying to work and better myself. And I believe that I'm ready, but also I'm malleable and I need to improve always. You know what I'm saying? So if I find somebody that understands that, then it's go time. But yeah, I think I'm ready for the type of woman that I'm looking for.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful space to be in, don't you think?
I think so as well. But again, it took and takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
And you got to be committed to the work of doing better. I feel like we kind of in a place, I wouldn't say in an age because it's been happening forever, but we're in a place where a lot of niggas are spinning the block and women are spinning the block as well. But if you coming back the same person as we left off, then what's the point? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I've made it a point. I'm not going to enter anyone's life that I don't intend to make better. If there's nothing that I can bring to you, if there's nothing that I can add for you, then there's no point in me being here. And so if we left off in a place and you coming back the same person, that means that growth didn't happen. If we ain't growing, then we don't need to be around one another.
I feel that.
Yeah, I'm very, very intentional about my space and who I allow in.
Who is around.
Yes,
in your space.
Yeah.
I love that.
Gotta be growth.
Yes.
Yes.
This is great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, come on now.
Wow, y'all. I hope y'all were blessed with all of this. Before we wrap it up, we're definitely going to be asking 2 questions. I ask all my guests. Okay.
I'm scared now.
Yeah, you should be. No, I'm kidding. No, you could think about it though. 2 questions I got for you. One is, what's your most cringiest adulting moment that you are okay with sharing?
Cringy.
And then the second one, while you think about that, is what's the best adulting advice you've ever received that you wouldn't mind sharing with the rest of the people?
A cringy adulting moment. Okay, I don't understand the question. Give me some examples of what other people have said.
Cringiest?
Yeah.
Okay. well, one of the girlfriends was like, seeing a bill with my name on it, cringe.
Okay.
It's a joke. Like, oh my gosh, like I did not ask for this when I grew up, you know, because adulting's ghetto. Another example would be like, they just had a very like weird adulting moment. Like for me, my cringiest moment, people know I'm a financial educator. I spent money on like one of my first or second check. And I was still writing checks. I don't even know why I did that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. I would shut up. Don't joke right
The
now.
90s nigga? Okay.
Yeah, well, my parents are older, and I thought I felt real certified adult.
check.
I'm writing up my check.
Yeah.
But I forgot that checks take a little while.
Yeah.
Obviously, the cash in. So I was fine, but I was spending money thinking it was already taken out because I wrote the check. And that's when I woke up to a negative $500.
And then it hit.
Balance. And I had to call my daddy. Like, I was like, Dad, they overdraft me.
Yeah.
So that was a very cringe adulting moment.
I think my cringy adult moments, I think getting turned down for a job. Again, I was like certain that I'm the best candidate for anything that I do. And so certain, you know, and so it damn near became an identity crisis. What do you mean
do you mean?
They don't want me? Did the interview not go well?
Rejection?
And it's just like, yeah, it was a crazy thing to do. But I think that like dealing with jobs saying no.
That is hard.
It's a muscle that has to be stretched. It's a muscle that has to like be worked out. Because before that, I had gotten everything that I tried. I'm like,
that was your first like
I don't understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
that's real. I like that.
Learning knows, yo.
Yes.
And it may not be that you did anything wrong. It may be
right.
They didn't have the space.
It had nothing to do with you.
But we internalize no's so much.
Oh yes, we do.
And so I was like, am I a good candidate? Again, it's that identity thing. But so just kind of learning that. I think the first time I was like, I don't. Did I not graduate? You know what I mean? Like, was my resume off?
Right, are these accolades not accoladed?
Right, the accolades wasn't accoladed.
What's going on?
And so, just getting turned down from jobs, man. Like
that's real.
That's a tough pill to swallow. But again, it happens.
It does.
Like frequently.
No. I was gonna say. I mean, anybody that's been in the interview process, I think you have to really separate. Like, hey, they are looking for a candidate, and you're looking for something. You're interviewing them just as much as they are too. And you have to put that outside of your scope of like your feelings and emotions. Because, baby, during that time when I was interviewing, it was like no after no after no after no after no. But, you know, I listened to a recent pastor, Jerry Flowers, and it was a Therapy Thursday segment. He said, you know, no, and he says, I hate this for Christians because we are brought up thinking that no not happening is like we did something wrong. God also uses no's and disappointments to rework you. If the scripture is right, which I believe it is, he's working all things for your good. So if you want this and it's like, oh, that's not really for your good because I know because I'm your father,
right? That
no has to happen.
Yeah.
And that can be in jobs, people, whatever. And it's like, And so if you look at it in that perspective, you're like, you know what? I don't understand this or why I wasn't here, but God does. Yeah. And I trust him because he's my father. So that's how I've been able to get through things.
I love that. I love that perspective. And that's a wise perspective. And I don't know that I had that wisdom
and
each
that's
time.
Okay.
Yeah, like.
But you got it now.
Sometimes I went back to the drawing board, but then, you know, you see months later or years later that, okay, I needed that to happen for this to happen.
Exactly.
You know? So
and you wouldn't know because
you can't know.
Yeah. He said lean into his own understanding. Not yours.
Come on now.
But his.
Come on.
Shabbat. Okay. Let me stop playing with him. But okay. Last question is what's the best adulting advice you've ever received that you wouldn't mind sharing with us?
The best adulting advice.
Yeah, I made up that word. It's trademark. Stop playing with me.
See, adulting is an unattainable goal. And if you treat it as something that, okay, now I got it, you don't get it. Because it is continually changing. It is continually growing as you should be.
Yeah,
and
I like
so
that.
Adulting is not a finite thing. It is everybody doing the best they can with what they got. Come on now.
Come on, right, Carrie. What she say?
And even though, like, when we're younger, we're looking at it like, oh, that person got it together. That is incorrect. So nobody does. And so the more we understand that, and the more we understand kind of looking behind the curtain, there's a unity in understanding that everybody's just doing the best they can.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a certain grace that comes with it too, because you're like, hey, I don't know what obviously we we know each other, but you don't know everybody's struggles and stuff, but they're doing the best they can. And that's also why it's good to be kind, because you never know. It could be their last straw, you know?
I've been in some last straw places and like feeling myself like, son, why am I about to wild out right now?
Yeah.
It's because of where I am in my life. Nothing about like what the other person or people are doing, but it's just like, yo, I'm at a place where this is it for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you don't know where folks are at. So again, leading with kindness, leading with love, leading with grace, leading with light is what I'm about, man. You know what I'm saying? And so even personally, but also musically as well. So if I want everything you listen to from XL to Scholar to make you feel a way, make you feel seen, make you feel beautiful, make you feel loved, make you feel embraced, all of those things. So
I love that. And we're going to end on that note because obviously it's the best thing.
Yes.
So please share with the folks where we can find you, what's coming out, so that we can really support you and show you love.
Absolutely. You can find me on Instagram at ScholarVision. That is SXHOLARVISION. You can find my music on Tidal, Apple Music, and Spotify. We have the On Ice video coming up. We have the movie Destiny coming up, which I'm doing the music for. We have the movie Friend Zone coming up. We have a few TV shows on Bounce TV coming up as well. So look for XL to Scholar, and I'll be looking for you.
Hey, I like that. Y'all heard? He's looking for you.
I'm looking.
Well, thank you again for tuning in on another amazing episode of Adulting is Ghetto, the podcast with my dear friend XL the Scholar. Check him out, all right? See you guys next time. Bye.
Hey you, welcome to Adulting is Ghetto. We all know adulting is truly overrated, so what better way to survive this ratchet place than coming together to share our stories and words of wisdom with one another. Join us as we discuss all things adulting from the following aspects of adulthood: finances, relationships, spirituality, and even health. This podcast is a great source to get all tips and tricks as you manage to survive adulting. After all, we already know adulting is truly ghetto.